And as promised, we have a great musical guest in studio with us, Lou Antonucci, and I am saying that correctly.
Exactly, you got it right.
Awesome. That's a big relief. I try to get names correctly. Very Italian. Very Italian sounding
Slightly,
name.
yes.
Yeah.
Slightly.
So welcome to the show. It's great to meet you finally. I love your sound. Great voice and the guitar work and everything. We were kind of talking off air a little bit that one of the songs that I played, Close the Door, you were talking about some lead guitar work on that from Jerry Putnam. Is that his name? From
Jerry
Cedar House?
Putnam, yeah, up at Cedar House Sound, yeah.
And that name has been coming up on the show so much recently. In fact, the guys I had on yesterday from the band Pointless Culture, that's where they record. And I hear nothing. I don't know Jerry personally, but I hear nothing but great things.
Yeah, no, it's a great studio. I'd suggest it to anybody that's looking to do some recording. Absolutely.
And he does all the mastering there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
Yeah, and he'll even do a little guitar for you if you prod him enough. And he's a great guitarist. So
yeah. It seems to me too, like I get the impression that he kind of becomes like a de facto producer, which usually happens by accident. But it sounds like he's someone who really knows what he's doing and he has a lot of good ideas.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and he produced the CD that song that you played was on as well.
Yeah, let me hold this up for the cameras over here. So let me hold this up for everybody. So Lou brought me copies of for Jenny and I. It's called An Almost Perfect Flight, and no way to really zoom in, but I'll hold it up there so people at home can see, or people listening, or people watching on their computers, I should say, or on Channel 6. But yeah, that's a cool cover. I like that.
Yeah, if nothing else, they make great coasters for your coffee cups. But that's the I still give those out. At performances, and it's interesting because the one thing that I miss about the days of vinyl albums, even though vinyls come back quite a bit, are the liner notes.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
and so we incorporated quite a bit of liner notes in there about the different stories behind the songs.
Oh,
there.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. And people still buy CDs certainly too, for that reason, people like to have the liner notes, and of course vinyl. Someone had told me, I think in 2022, it was the first year that vinyl had actually outsold CDs.
Really?
Yeah. Well, with vinyl too. I mean, a lot of people, they'll buy vinyl of their favorite artists and then never open it. They just buy it to collect it, and then they'll leave it sealed, but they'll, put it on their bookshelf or whatever it is. So, I
had read an article where actually there's less homes now with CDs in them than there used to be. Like that's really you really only find CD players in people's cars.
Yep.
And I figure those will probably go by the wayside in the next year or two.
Probably.
If they haven't already.
Yeah. It's interesting to see over time what technologies go away, what technologies stick around, because it's often hard to predict, like cassette tapes stuck around probably about 5 or 6 years longer than I expected. And then a few years ago, I was on Bandcamp, and even cassettes were back. I couldn't believe it. I saw local independent artists putting out cassettes.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah.
No, I didn't even know you could buy a cassette player anymore.
Yeah,
probably high-end stuff, I guess.
Yeah, you can get them online, and but yeah, people. I mean, I don't know if anyone actually. I think it's an idea similar to with vinyl. You buy the cassette, but you don't necessarily listen to it. Unless you really like the sound of tape hiss, why would you? Yeah. But if you really like an artist, but yeah, you can go on Bandcamp and there's artists selling cassettes, limited edition cassettes. It's wild. So you just never know.
Interesting.
Yeah. But Lou, I'm dying to hear you play. And I know we were talking off air during the break about this song, Message from Harry. And I don't know if you want to tell us about it before you play it, or
sure. Yeah. Well, actually, recently I've put together a small stage show that we've been doing called You, Me, and Harry. And what it is, it's a very intimate solo performance, just me doing quite a bit of Harry Chapin's music. And, he's well known for his story songs, right? Songs like Taxi and so on.
Yeah.
Well, this particular song, it's the only Lou Antonucci song in the show.
Oh.
But it was kind of inspired out of an incident that happened. I play all around southern New Hampshire. And I was, before I'd written this song, I had just gotten back into performing because I had worked in high tech for a number of years, right? Sold the company, finally had the opportunity to retire earlier, just get back into music. And so I started playing again, picking up my old repertoire, and I hadn't had it complete yet, right? But just adding songs from my past and working one night at the Copper Door over in Bedford.
Yeah.
And I'm just finishing up a song, and I see a gentleman. He gets up from the bar and he walks over. He's got a napkin in his hand.
Yeah.
And he hands me the napkin, and I see there's one word on the napkin, and I immediately look up at him and I say, "Oh, you must be a Harry Chapin fan," because the word was taxi.
Yeah.
He wanted to hear taxi.
Yeah.
And so he said, "Hey, can you do this song?" And I said, "Well, I haven't performed that song probably for 20 years.
Wow.
I might be able to figure it out." He says, "Well, I tell you what, if you can play the chords, I can sing it." Well, Matt, I don't know if you've been out performing anywhere, but the last thing you want to do is when someone has been sitting at the bar for 2 hours, walks up and says he can sing, the last thing you want to do is give him the microphone.
Right.
So I quickly ran through some chords and I figured out the song.
Yeah.
And I did it. And I blew myself away because I didn't screw it up.
Yeah.
I remembered all the words, remembered all the chords. I must have played it thousands of times when I was younger.
Yeah.
So, and that's not even the craziest thing that happened that night.
Yeah.
Which kind of comes at the end of the song. So I'll leave that little opening. But I went home that night and the next day, and I wrote this song.
Okay.
It's called "Message from Harry."
All right. Wonderful.
Playing Friday night at the Copper Door, I got a message from Harry when one of his fans walked across the floor, handed me a note. Just one word on a paper napkin took me back to when I was young. I must have played that request 1,000 times back then, not a single note undone. Now the man stood there with his drink in his hand, asked me if I could oblige, said it's his favorite song, he could sing along if I could figure out the tune. It's been too many miles on this old guitar since I last sang those words, but I told this guy I'd give it one good try if I could get me up the nerve. Harry, will I do it justice? Harry, will I make you proud? Not everybody's looking for that story song, but there's this one man in the crowd. I could have said I'm sorry, haven't played that one in years, but something told me to give it a go, and I overcame my fear. I started slow, and as it goes, I was a million miles away. His stories had a way of doing that, even to this day. Well, the lyrics flowed like satin of the tale that Harriet spun. It'd been 20-odd years since I sang those words, but I remembered everyone. Yeah, I surprised myself for remembering And about 3 or 4 minutes in, that man, he made his way back to the bar with his whiskey in his hand. And I could see him mouthing every word, and it didn't miss a beat. It made his night, it made mine too, however bittersweet. Harry, did I do it justice? Harry, did I make you proud? Not everybody's looking for that story song, but there's this one man in the crowd. I could have said I'm sorry, haven't played that one in years. Something told me to give it a go, and I overcame my fear. As I was leaving for the evening, headed out the door, this limo pulled up, this couple jumps out, just trying to make last call. But the door had locked behind me, bolted for the night. They looked at me and I said, yeah, they're closed, as their limo drove out of sight. And as I packed my car, they stood there in the chilly winter frost. I could see their disappointment, wondering if their night was lost. Neither wore an overcoat, so I offered them a ride. But they said, thanks, we'll take a taxi. That's when I got all choked up inside. Harry, did I do it justice? Harry, did I make you proud? Not everybody's looking for that story song. There's this one man in the crowd. I could have said I'm sorry, haven't played that one in years, but I got a message from Harry, and I overcame my fear. Yes, I got a message from Harry, and I overcame my fear.
Oh, very nice. Wow, that's incredible.
And it's a true story.
Yeah,
and, to this day, I wonder why the guy said we're taking a taxi,
right,
versus like an Uber or a Lyft, right? But it's just kind of what happened earlier in the evening. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. If you're just joining us, Lou Antonucci is here with us live in studio. He is on the couch and he's playing some songs, and we're talking and having a great time. I also see Gary Smith from Fox and the Flamingos and Jam Tomorrow also in the Facebook live chat. And my old friend Jay Bello from the band Chasing the Devil also in the chat room. So we got a very busy chat room today. A lot of musicians in there, which is good to see. Do you always finger pick? Do you ever use a pick, or do you always?
I probably more often than not use a pick. It's just depends on the particular song.
Yeah. I'm always I'm a bass player, but I use a pick, and I'm always amazed at how people are able to finger picking. It just kind of fascinates me watching it. Like, how do you even make your fingers do that?
Yeah, I don't know where they go. They just go where they want to go.
Yeah. Have you put out other albums prior to this one?
No, actually, this was really kind of the first one I'd done in a long, long time. I did There's a song on this album called "Living in My Fantasies."
Yeah.
Which I think you have a track of.
Yes.
And there was an album I had done back in, believe it or not, 1979, when I was just a lad and Shep was a pup.
Yeah.
And the name of the album was Fantasies. If you were to Google Fantasies Lou Antonucci on Google, you'd come across this album.
Yeah.
It was probably the worst piece of recording I ever had done in my life.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because we were young. We did it in a studio where the guy was like, the engineer was really into polka bands, so he knew nothing about what he was doing. But it was just, we did it. And but that album was really the only other album I had ever done.
Wow.
But the interesting thing about Fantasies, that song on the album is completely different from what the song is today.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I kind of rewrote it.
Yeah.
After so many years and put it on this CD. So, but yeah, that's really the only thing. I'd done a couple singles way back when 45s were big. Mm-hmm. And I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. So.
Yeah. And this is definitely a full length. There's, how many songs are on here? Like 15 tracks? 13, 14?
I think there's 13.
Wow, yeah. And you did this all at Cedar House, the whole thing?
Yeah, I had I told my wife at one point, and this was several years ago, that I wanted to take my original material that I'd written over the years and kind of put them all on a CD.
Yeah. And
she says, "Oh, what would that cost you to do?" And I said, probably about $500. Go into the studio and do it. She says, "Okay, I'll get that for you for your birthday." And 2 years and about $5,000 later, I had an album.
Yeah.
And by the way, you played Grandfather's song earlier.
Yeah.
That was a song I wrote when I was 17 years old.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wrote it for my grandfather when I was 17.
I'll be damned.
Like every Italian family, big Italian family, we would spend from as far back as I can remember till my teen years, spent every Sunday at my grandparents' house.
Yeah.
So I kind of wrote that song, and it's really kind of a metaphor for how our grandparents nurtured all the grandchildren.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Has the song changed over the years, or
slightly?
Yeah,
just slightly, a few words here and there, but it really hasn't deviated much at all.
Is that when you started writing songs at 17, or were you writing before that?
I wrote my first song when I was 13 years old.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, that song's on the CD.
Oh, no
too.
kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a song called Family Life and Freedom.
Okay.
And all I can remember about that song is my sister and I had my cousin, Rose Marie, who was our babysitter.
Yeah.
And so there's a line in this, and did this song, by the way, and had some great musicians on this album. Rich Gerzina, who's a sax, flute, horn player, played with Tower of Power, a number of people.
Oh, wow.
Lives here in New Hampshire. He did all the horn work, and he did some great flute work on this particular song. I'll do a little bit of it anyway.
Sure.
Kind of goes like this. Really only like 3 chords to the whole song, because I think that's all I knew at the time. If you come to see me, don't tell Rosemary. If you bring me flowers, I would not agree to all these simple treasures. They're in life are free. Believe me. If your heart is broken, find your sacred tree and plant it in your garden so you can hardly see the walls of my obsessions when you were loving me. Believe me. Believe me, all I ever wanted was family life and freedom. And all you ever wanted was free. I'll just do that much of it for it.
Yeah. So, wow. So you wrote that at 13.
Yeah.
And that was your first one, huh?
Yeah.
Has that changed? That's probably changed a little bit over the years, I would think, right?
No.
No. Wow.
No.
That's pretty good.
No, but when I was...
13, wow.
Yeah, when we were doing this album, there's all these, different songs that came back to me that I'd written, and and because Rich was able to do, I mean, he just colored it with the flute, and it makes it kind of magical. So
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I'm dying to hear another one. If you want to play, I don't know, what did you want to play? Did you want to play, you wanted to save Merchant, right? You wanted to save that for later?
Yeah, we'll save that.
What about My Back Porch?
There you go.
Want to play that?
I don't pretend to be a country singer.
Okay.
At all.
Okay.
But a buddy of mine one time says, hey, got a great idea for a song. You should write a song about your back porch. And I had this phrase in my mind, going to sit on my back porch and write a new song.
Yeah.
So I ended up writing this song. Just kind of came out, but it's somewhat country.
Okay.
It has that sound to it. It's got, boy and girl breakup. It's got Missing You. It's got the back porch. It's got whiskey. I think the only thing it doesn't have is a pickup truck.
Okay.
Right? So
fair enough.
all right, we'll see how this one goes.
All right.
Gonna sit on my back porch and write a new song. Not quite sure the melody, and I just don't know how long it might take to come together as I wrestle with the tune. I only know this song will be about how much I'm missing you. Gonna wrap my head around the thought of losing you. Try and understand the best I can the choice you had to make when you walked away from loving me in our struggle to survive. I only hope this song can help to heal the hurt I feel inside. I'm missing you in the morning as I lie awake in bed. Missing you in the daytime, it's messing with my head. I'm missing you in the nighttime when I need someone to hold. And I really miss those loving arms that kept me from the cold. I'm gonna sit on my back porch, drink some whiskey, try and understand the best I can the choice you had to make when you walked away from loving me in our struggle to survive. I only know this song can help to heal the hurt I feel inside. And I'm a long, long way from forgiving you, but I'm not that far away from being stoned. If I get the feeling, I might call you on the phone. On second thought, I guess that I'll just sit here and drink alone. I'm missing you in the morning as I lie awake in bed. I'm missing you in the evening, hell, it's messing with my head. I'm missing you in the nighttime when I need someone to hold. You know, I really miss those loving arms that kept me from the cold. I'm gonna sit on my back porch and write a new song. And I know this song will be about how much I'm missing you.
That's cool. I like it.
It has a good beat.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll give it a 9.
No, I like it. It's got kind of a bounce to it. I dig it a lot. If you're just joining us, Lou Antonucci is here with us. He is live in studio. He's playing some songs for us, and we're talking. And this is great. This is great. Do you play out a lot? Do you do a lot of shows?
I do. I do a lot of restaurants and bars. I generally would play 3 to 4 nights a week.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're pretty busy. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. It keeps me busy. It slows down a little bit in the winter simply because so many places have added outdoor patios and entertainment, but then winter comes, they lose their entertainment.
Right.
But and like I said, working on this Harry show, I'll be doing a lot more of those. We're kind of putting together a tour in New England for the spring.
Oh, good.
Of that show. And we've gotten great response to it so far. We did a show in Vermont, show in Pennsylvania, and got a great response from both the venues and the audiences. So looking forward to that come spring.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, do you have are there a lot of people on stage with you, or is it mostly just you? Or
No. Me and my guitar. That's
wow,
it.
that's cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's when Harry would do a solo show. That was it.
Yeah.
He didn't use pedals, didn't have, loopers, any of that kind. It's just him and his guitar. So I try to keep it pretty authentic.
Yeah. Is that challenging, or does that kind of come naturally to do that?
Well, I think it comes naturally because when I was young and I was playing, I would play, in some clubs I played when I was in my early 20s. I would do 4-5 nights a week, 4 hours a night.
Wow.
And just me and my guitar. And all that stuff gets ingrained. And and I'm old school, so that's kind of how I do it today too.
Yeah, so you're well conditioned to be able to pull that off. Yeah, because not everyone can pull that off,
No, it's not easy.
Yeah,
it's not easy. And but I get great response, and I do when I play at the clubs. I do all the classic acoustic stuff.
Yeah.
The Neil Young, James Taylor, Jim Croce, Harry Chapin.
Yeah.
And I think, people, they enjoy that era of music. So.
Yeah. Now, when you're doing that, do you mix in originals with the covers?
I'll throw a few in.
Yeah.
But, again, those venues aren't the venues where originals are the big thing. But I'll throw in a few like My Back Porch.
Yeah.
Upbeat tune, that type of thing. You get into the 6-7 minute songs and, people want to get their second beer by the time you're 2/3 of the way through it. But
that part can be a challenge. Yeah. Well, I'm curious. So, did you want to play Reunion?
Sure.
I'd love to hear that live. That's a great song.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, so you've heard that one, that track?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Online on I listened to it on YouTube, and I was like, it's a lot of emotion with that. It's song.
It's the tip. And interesting. I just got back from Pittsburgh because our high school just had our 50-year class reunion.
Wow.
And the head of the reunion committee had kind of commissioned me to write a song for the class.
Oh, no kidding.
And then I, as a surprise, which was not the easiest surprise to keep, I performed the song at the reunion.
Oh,
for the
I'll
class.
be damned. Wow.
Yeah, and it went over well. It was great. So, no, it was fun being back there. But, when you think about it and you think back to those high school days, right, there's usually always someone, whether it's your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you've got this great relationship with, you've grown up with through school, and you always had this thing for them, right?
Yeah.
And then you graduate, you end up going your separate ways, and you're always thinking about what could have been.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you go back to these reunions halfway thinking, I wonder if I'll see so-and-so, right?
Yeah.
Again. So that's really what this song is about.
Okay. All right.
in a different world. It used to be only you, only me. But it's not the past that haunts me so. It's that I let you go. When we were kids, you lived next door. Your hair was yellow gold then. I'd stand outside your kitchen door, struggled to be bold then. We'd share my Coke and your penny candies, all stuck in sticky fingers. Simple treasures came in handy. We were both so young and so naive. With you, I'd share my world. Since we shared together would grow into devotion. Our innocence we lost together, and it tangled up our emotion. We grew apart by graduation, so not so unexpected. Our love or just infatuation has kept us close, even though we struggle to break free. And all the years I spent in longing, were your ears the same? All the fear of not belonging, I just wanted one more chance to dance with you in a different world. Used to be only you, only me. But it's not the past that haunts me so. It's that I let you go. Time has seen us both endure misfortune and disfavor, a family life, so much more, but nothing left to savor now. And your photograph's a different scene than what your eye confesses. The simple truth you can't reveal, it's brought us here once again. Now I struggle to be bold. And past reunions notwithstanding, this feels so right to me. I have to ask, before I leave now. Can I have just one more chance to dance with you in a different world? Used to be only you, only me. But it's not the past that haunts me so. Sad I let you go.
Wow. That's so good. That's so good.
Thank you.
Lou Antonucci is with us live in studio if you're just joining us today. Wow, that's that song, boy, it really I don't know, it paints a picture. I almost hate to say it, sounds cliche to say it that way, but it really does. You know, it's that's really good. Do you have, I mean, is there anything on the album that's kind of a favorite of yours that you particularly love to play live that gets a particular response from people? Or?
I think The Merchant, obviously, The Merchant on Market Square. It's an interesting song because I'll tell you this. Obviously I've been playing music since I was 12, 13.
Yeah.
And writing songs here and there all along the way. That song, Merchant on Market Square, is the only song out of all of my songs that I actually sat down one day and said, I'm going to write a song about that subject.
Okay.
Usually all these other songs, like I'll get an idea and then something just comes out.
Yeah.
And it's most of the times it's both the melody and the lyrics at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I write. Or there's some emotional event that kind of really gets in my head and
sure,
I'll write about it. But that song, I was born and raised outside of Pittsburgh, and it was the early '80s. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, was going through a renaissance, both a cultural and a physical renaissance.
Yeah,
the steel mills were moving out and had been moving out, and there were a lot of corporate headquarters used to be based in Pittsburgh. Rockwell International, U.S. Steel, a lot of those companies, and have since moved on. One of the companies, PPG, you've probably heard of them as PPG Industries, Pittsburgh Paint and Glass is what they were originally called. So Pittsburgh wanted to keep them and their corporate offices in the city. And so what they did was they put together a deal and offered up PPG prime real estate right downtown in Pittsburgh to build their world headquarters. And if you look, like if you're watching Monday Night Football when the Steelers are playing and you see in the background, you see this big, tall building. It's all glass. It looks like a castle at the top with four corners.
Yeah.
That's the PPG headquarters building.
Oh, okay.
And but to do this, what the city of Pittsburgh did was they took a big part of what was known as Market Square, not unlike Faneuil Hall.
Okay.
Picture Faneuil Hall. It was a big square in the middle of the city from the early 1800s, cobblestone streets, family-owned businesses, bistro shops, all of that. And so they were going to take about 2/3 of that. And to do that, they offered some remuneration to the businesses, but really not that much.
Yeah.
And there were some businesses that held out and went to court and fought it. They didn't want to give their lifelong businesses up. Unfortunately, they all lost. The city took the property by eminent domain.
Okay.
And the rest is history. The interesting thing is, when I do the song around Pittsburgh, I always get requests for it, and
Yeah.
But I find when I play it out, I did it at a place called Stage 33 up in Vermont, and on one of the breaks, a guy came up to me and said, "Boy, that song really hit home." I said, "Oh, are you from Pittsburgh?" And he goes, "No, I'm from Baltimore. My family's from Baltimore, but my grandfather, who used to be known as like the Banana King of Baltimore, he would distribute and bring in all the fruit and vegetables for all the grocery stores. Same thing happened to him, where the city ended up taking his business by eminent domain to do some, renovation of the city, a renaissance in the city. So
Yeah.
it's still somewhat valid today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess that's a great introduction for the song.
Yeah. I'd love to.
We got enough time? Or?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. I'd love to hear it. Absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to do this one. Good musical friend of mine back in the Mon Valley. She always tells me this is her favorite song, and I was there to do the Harry show, and she had asked me that evening before I left if I could just play this for her.
Oh,
and I forgot and never did get to do it.
Oh, no.
So
kidding.
This one's for Annette. If you're out there, Annette, I don't know. Here on Market Square, trying to save my piece of the pie. Is it really right or even fair for my livelihood to be denied for the renaissance of glass and steel? The city's on their side. You're tearing down my life. Fast, you're moving too fast for a simple man like me. Worked hard half a life on the south side just to raise my family. My business grew, I move uptown, hit a Market Square, a life savings down. City says, tear it down, give it all to PPG. Too slow, the court's too slow for a common man like me. My friend said stay, but the judge said no. I thought this life was free. One by one, the shops closed down here on Market Square. I'm losing ground. Won't give in, won't lay it down. Won't give it all to BPG. Lord, I'm a merchant here on Market Square, tried to save my piece of the pie. Is it really right or even fair for my livelihood to be denied for the renaissance of glass and steel? The city's on their side. They're tearing down my life. Oh, it's my life. I'm just a common man, you see. My business grew, I moved uptown, hit a Market Square, life savings down. The city says, tear it down, give it all to PPG. Too much, it's all too much for a broken man like me. My bank accounts lie empty, and there's a loophole in my lease. We give you 30 days, not a minute more. Here on Market Square, I gotta close my doors. Makes no sense if I wanna eat. Gotta go to work for PPG. Lord, I'm a merchant, late off Market Square. Tried to save my piece of the pie. Is it really right or even fair for my livelihood to be denied for the renaissance of glass and steel? The city's on their side. They're tearing down my
Wow. That's my favorite of the ones you've played. I love that. I love that. The Renaissance of Glass and Steel. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good, really good. Yeah.
I don't know if you've listened to the one on the CD, but I mentioned Jerry doing lead guitar.
Yeah.
And he plays lead guitar on that song. And the interesting thing is he goes back and forth between nylon string guitar and electric guitar.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of the two eras battling themselves.
Interesting.
In the middle of the song.
I got to listen. Yeah, I haven't listened to that one. I got to check that out though. Yeah. I'm very curious now.
Right.
By the way, DJ Stephen Light is in the chat room. He says, loving it. Great playing, Lou. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so much.
I love the lyrics to that track too. I can see where, you told the story about the guy from Baltimore. I can see where people from other cities would also relate to the subject matter, That's interesting.
Yeah, it happens all over.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are running short on time, so I want to make sure people know where to find you online, where to you're playing out a lot, so we want to make sure people know where they can find out how to see you live or get the CD or anything at all. Where's the best place? Should probably spell your last name for people.
Hey, that's Antonucci, just like it sounds. ANTONUCCI.
Okay.
And it's Lou, L-O-U, not L-E-W.
Right.
And you can find me at louantonuccimusic.com. Everything you need to know or need to access is right there.
Excellent.
This album, Almost Perfect Flight, the whole album is on YouTube. So if you typed in Lou Antonucci space and Almost Perfect Flight, you could stream the whole album.
Yes, yes. Oh, by the way, where does I meant to ask you too, where does the title come from, the album title, An Almost Perfect Flight? It sounds like something that would have a story behind it. I'm curious.
Well, it does a little bit. I worked in high tech for years. I traveled all over the place. And I remember getting off a plane one time, and one of the guys I was traveling with said, we had turbulence,
Yeah.
We got off and he says, oh, well, that was an almost perfect flight. And it just kind of stuck with me. And it's a line in the fantasy song as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think
on the CD.
I'm actually going to end with that, the studio track there.
Okay, great.
Of that. Yeah, that'll be a good way to end it since you mentioned it. Lou, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
It's been fun, Matt. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely amazing. And I just want to say on the record too, you're the most prepared guest I've ever had. So well done, sir. Well done. No,
Thanks so much.
This has been great though. Lou Antonucci, everybody.